Good afternoon, Dr. Sharma. Welcome once again to another session on mental health.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Vasconcelos. Good to be back with you.
Doc, today is August 7th, 2020, and we are still in the middle of a pandemic. COVID-19 has disrupted our school system, and obviously many students cannot attend class in the regular setting. The question for you today is, how can teachers and schools best emotionally support students online?
So, as we go forward in the new semester that's coming up, there's several possibilities that schools may reopen completely to take full attendance, or there may be a hybrid school where there's online training, or there may be still students being at home completely online. I think that the latter two are more likely, that there is some hybrid training where online teaching has become the new mode. And so we got to get accustomed to that. Both teachers and students have to be prepared for this new style of learning, that the classrooms will be smaller in terms of number of students, there'll be more spacing, there's going to be more control over behaviors. The social distancing policy will probably be enforced in schools. And it's going to be tricky keeping our youngsters at distances from each other because they tend to be more, outgoing and socially wanting to be close to each other. There's always the hugs with greetings that some teachers are afraid of. That these kids will meet and greet and forget about rules and restrictions because they have this natural tendency to feel invulnerable to any disease. So they're not going to be thinking about disease when they see their friends after a long time away from them. So it's a need for preparation. So having our teachers and our students prepare for this new style of training, the importance of maintaining social distancing and masks and so on is critical. Um, so preparation, I think, is the key. Then educating our youngsters to the value of online training so that they can have the discipline. So we need to work with them to find that discipline where parents may not be always there to be over their shoulders as much as the teachers used to be. So there's going to be needs. There'll be a lot of needs for people to guide and counsel and support. Then because there's distancing in terms of learning, there's that not that physical connection that teachers have. It becomes a little bit more, not the togetherness, the emotive togetherness and the feelings that people can share not there. So there's going to be an emotional gap with distance learning. We see that a lot with messaging that people do. The emotions do conveyed with figurines and emojis and not truly of the person's human spirit. So it's got to be an adjustment. I hope down the road that these things will just be temporary because human beings need social connections. We're going against the natural human nature of being in touch with each other, being able to feel, hold, touch. Tactile senses are not going to be there. So let us hope that this is temporary. But even as we hope, we still have to prepare and we have to move forward. So emotional support is critical for both sides. It's not only the youngsters, but also the teachers. We're looking at sometime now at emotional awareness, emotional intelligence training that both teachers and youngsters need to acquire so that they can gain empathy, they can gain an understanding, they can understand the difficulties that parents have, that teachers have, that the administrators have. So some time has to be spent. And here's the point that I believe is important, that as we prepare for this new style of schooling that would probably be in vogue for some time, that this type of training is added to the curriculum. It becomes an important and integral part. It's not looked at as a lighter topic, as a fun topic that has no value. It is the most critical topic that underlines and becomes the foundation for learning. That learning is comprehensive. It's not only about academic subjects and subject matter. It is also about emotional intelligence, social awareness, social connectivity. These are very critical parts of learning that have been relegated to the back door. And it needs to be moved to the front door to say that you got to open your mind to the value of these processes, the psychological processes, for the well-being of the person. Because you can acquire all the knowledge in the world and gain very little in terms of human insight and human intelligence, not be developed in one's personality in a good way. So I'm hoping that we will see changes in the curriculum that promote the emotional intelligence, awareness, sensitivity, and is critical. And that there should be also programs in place for social support of our youngsters, people who feel that they're neglected, that they not understand material, that they're not cared for. That there will be programs where they can have groups that can meet online, togetherness groups, brainstorming groups, emotional awareness groups, so that there can be an expression of feelings by the youngsters about what they're going through, and so they can be shown the appreciation and care that they need for their academic progress.
Well, Doc, looking at the emotional gap, taking into consideration emotional intelligence, what would be your recommendations to teens for self-care?
So they have got to develop strategies for coping. So it's got to be holistic. So it's not only about wanting to sit down and study, it's got to be best prepared by physically being well. The nutrition has to be good. They got to have time for exercise. So if we look at home programs where the youngsters are going to be a lot of the time online, they got to develop a structure to their day. They got to know that there's school time, that they have to respect that time, and they must follow the program as it's um, presented to them. So they must try to work with a very good structure and maintain that structure. So that requires a great amount of inner discipline as a supervision from the teachers, and that their youngsters tend to take advantage of parents because of no the familiarities there. So they it's not that they don't respect their parents, but they tend to be more uh, sort of push the rules, bend the rules a little bit too much. And so we want to keep that boundary good. So the teachers should have that important influence. I think structure is good. They know it's school time, but to be best prepared in terms of self-care would be keeping well, being healthy, having exercise, having time for games that can be done together with the kids. So time off between class time for some of those social programs is also useful. Keeping it structured is very good. Opportunities for communication. So getting them away from, I'm saying communication about their well-being, not communication by hooking onto Instagrams and messaging that seems to be taking over their lives when they're at home, and being able to have social connectivity in a healthy way, that there are groups that are led by school counselors and counselors with good knowledge of emotional difficulties that people face when they're in a distant situation. So managing these emotions is also very critical for their self-care. So it's a new style, but we got to adapt to meet those needs.
Doc, that's interesting. Definitely, we all need structures, especially students at this time. Some students can develop an inner discipline and follow a structure, follow routine. However, some may not. What would be your recommendation to adults what to do in the event that you have students who refuse to follow structure and obey a curriculum or a procedure?
Very good point, because who does the discipline now? Is it going to be handed over to the parents, or are the teachers going to take responsibility as they do the online program? So these are things that also need to be discussed. So there should be forums where parents and teachers can meet and work out some of these ground rules, because maybe sometimes hard for parents to enforce some rules. And if you look at sleep, for example, there's always a challenge when the youngster now wanting to go to sleep, now wanting to get up early anymore, because there's a laxity in terms of supervision. So how do we do that is by working together with the teachers, finding some common grounds about enforcing rules of discipline. What are some of the punitive measures can be taken? What are some of the positive ways that we can promote and encourage the youngster to follow a path of discipline? So being able to keep to that structure, being able to maintain the hours of class and productivity, assignments, it's a lot. What are we going to do about parents when they start to go back out to work? Who provided the supervision for the youngsters at home? Are they going to be now with other people or in special community centers? So there's a lot of discussion still, now that we haven't really gone and done. We're still waiting on the administrators and the heads of education and so on to come up with a program, and then that program is developed, then people can start to fall into line. But I think we should start moving it already. Start thinking about it as you're doing through this program today. Let us start to address these issues. Let's start to brainstorm, have parents meet in their communities and their settings. In Guyana, for example, the school should have meetings with the parents discussing the way forward and something. There is much credit to our Ministry of Education here, where they put up very good online programs. So people are working to keep things going, and that's really great. But you're right. What happens when we have difficult students? What can be done to make sure that they comply, they understand? We don't want to have them in a state of being punished alone. We want to use encouragement and support to get them motivated. So it's motivation through positive reinforcement, reward systems. How can we reward kids to have in setting reward programs? So maybe delayed reward programs can work, having students work towards, say, merits where they can get a payoff, where all are rewarded for the effort, So so people don't feel that they're neglected and that they get discouraged along the road. So good programs using reinforcers that commonly are used for youngsters that they like. Um, and getting the group itself to be the reinforcers. So having students in small group learning sessions will also be good. So the students in that group can motivate the others who may be slacking off. So can work. We got to be prepared for it. So good question, that one.
Doc, well, thank you very much. Definitely, I agree with you. We do need programs. We do need a forum. We do need strategies. And your input in terms of a mental health expert, as a doctor, I think it's people like you that can offer those strategies and how to motivate our student and positive reinforcement. And I pray that you will continue to impact lives. I'm confident that you continue to be a blessing to so many. Your commitment to mental health, your commitment to well-being, not only to students, but also to adults and to the people of Guyana. So I'm honored to partner with you throughout these years. We've had our dental medical outreaches, and we're taking it to a different level with mental health. And I'm confident that it's people like you that will make a difference in society, the mental health experts to develop programs and encourage people. And so thank you. Any final thoughts, Doc?
Well, I want to thank you because you're the support that we need, and you've come together before. I've seen you in schools where the kids are all brightened up and they're excited to see your presence. So we need that type of spirit to come and infuse our country, our new government, to give it the enthusiasm and vitality it needs by having the support from yourselves. You're coming from North Carolina and bringing the team. So we will hope and pray that the young programs and so as a we will make things happen together.
Well, Doc,
I
thank
think
you
we
very
lost some
much.
audio there now.
Yeah, we had some audio problems towards the end there, but thank you very much. God bless you. Stay safe, and until the next session.